Well, I think looking back, it's just the regular season. 22 wins, most in the regular season since 2014. 3 ranked wins in the pit, first time ever. A lot of good things, and kind of as I tweeted yesterday, a lot of good. Certainly some lows, some tough losses, some close losses. But overall, as you kind of wrap up year 3, I think we absolutely made progress. And now, like everybody else, all 11 teams are trying to go win the conference tournament, go play for a championship, and see if we can slide in that NCAA tournament. And there's a lot of teams that are going to go into their conference tournaments with the thought of, we have to win the tournament. We don't necessarily need to do that to make the NCAA tournament. It's certainly going to be very, very hard, but we're right there. So proud of the great progress, top 25 in attendance, all of those things. Really happy with the trajectory of everything. As for Saturday, we played our butts off to be dealt the hand of one of your best players being sick, not playing, and going toe-to-toe with a very hot, really good team, obviously conference champions. We were right there, and we got to move on and go certainly get excited for the opportunity on Wednesday.
It's just one of those ones, you're facing Air Force, so it's just one of those ones where motivation might be a little bit extra just because what happened.
That loss certainly stung. We didn't really have a lot of bad losses this year. But I will say, for anybody that watches Air Force, they're getting better and better. They really are. I know their record may not show it, but they've been a tough out. Colorado State, they were toe-to-toe with Utah State. They're playing well, physical, tough. So, yeah, it was a hard loss for sure. But when I watched them, I know it's going to be a tough game.
The challenges of a regular season where you just, like, the Mountain West kind of consumes itself. At this point, when you're about to go to Las Vegas, do you tell these guys just to reset and start all over and try to put behind them some things?
Yeah, it's a new season for everybody. All 11 teams are going to go there with great dreams of, and everybody's obviously at a different, stage of where they're at. But, everybody's going to have a great belief they can win a championship. And we've obviously got a little extra because we're right there on the bubble. I guess you could say Colorado State is, but they're certainly safer. So we've got that, but we can't make it about that, certainly. It's just going to be one of those things where you try to narrow their focus to Air Force, and then if we are fortunate enough to win, you narrow their focus to Boise State.
2 on health, kind of. Starting with Mash. How's Mash doing? Is he going to be available Wednesday?
He won't practice today, but we're going to do a workout with him after, more because we don't, not to sound insensitive, you don't want it to spread throughout the team. I think it's flu, I think it's run through some of our sports right now. I think baseball had a little issue, from what I'd heard. So he'll be at practice. We're just not going to practice him. I would assume he would improve, but obviously I don't know health-wise. But he was really struggling, and was struggling on the plane yesterday as well.
You guys, in the second half of the season, didn't win back-to-back games, I think, through February and through March, through the end. How much of that's just the way the schedule played out? How much of that was dead legs and maybe hitting the wall a little bit?
No, I think it was the schedule. The schedule was pretty backloaded versus a lot of teams who were going to play in the NCAA tournament. If I remember correctly, Air Force was a 1-point loss. UNLV was a 3-point loss. At Utah State was a 2-point loss. So I don't buy that. If you're really, really close, I don't buy any of those excuses. Now, if you get blown out or something, I could see that. I think it's the toughest the conference has ever been. And I thought we had a stretch there where it was going to be really tough to go on the road and do those things. So that's why I try to take a macro look at the season as it ends, the regular season, and say I'm really, really proud of the progress. And, I look at it as a whole. We're 22-9. 22 wins is the most regular season they've had in 10 years. So I think more schedule had to do with it.
Coach, getting back to the beginning of the season, preseason, we talked to you a lot about what this team looked like on paper and the potential it could have. Now we've kind of seen that 22 wins this season, like you mentioned, but you also mentioned a lot. It's going to come down to how this team responds to adversity. How do you think your team has been able to do that this year?
Well, they only lost 2 games in a row one time this year. Pretty darn good. I think people have to remember we added 8 new players And now that's the world we live in. So I think people are not acknowledging that excuse more and more now. They don't want to hear it anymore. They're just like, it's the way the world is. So yeah, I still believe the model is like what Utah State has done. Amazing, but his two best players played for him at Montana State. So there was a little bit of consistency there, and they're his leaders. And so not to take away from what he did, but that's obviously unique. I think it's so very important to retain these players. We lost, obviously, Javante started, Josiah started, Morris graduated, or he was graduated. So, I think, again, I think we've handled it all pretty well. We really have. And now there's a new season that could take this season to new heights.
I know this probably people never really mistake the Mountain West for the Big Ten, but you went through the Big Ten. This is probably the best team New Mexico's had in a decade, and yet went 10-8 in the Mountain West just because this also happens to be the best the conference has ever been. Is this kind of? Can you draw any kind of comparison to what you went through now?
I think the difference is. I think the difference is the bottom. Honestly, when I was at Minnesota, you didn't have teams, and this is not a knock on Air Force, Fresno, San Jose. I don't know what Wyoming's net is, where the net was really low. So one loss wouldn't really hurt you like it did with Air Force with us. But yeah, it was a gauntlet for sure. I think we have an opportunity as a conference, if we parlay this success, to keep this train moving in the right direction. I don't know if we will or not. I don't know. Who knows if coaches move on? You never know, right? But I certainly believe that the Mountain West is performing at a high level, and hopefully we use the success to strengthen all the programs. But this is a crazy time of year, and it's about to get crazier with coaches leaving, getting new jobs, transfers, all of those things.
Coach, I know they're going to have the postseason awards and stuff like that. And what are your thoughts on all of that stuff? And then JT in particular, should he win Freshman of the Year, what would be your opinion?
Did you guys talk before the press conference? When you finish sixth, it's hard for me to demand somebody get an award. I'm going to be honest with you. I think JT has had a phenomenal year. I would be surprised if he doesn't win it. But UNLV finished fourth. We finished sixth. UNLV swept us. So as a coach, you sit here and you want the guys that win to get the awards. But with that being said, JT has had a historical year. And it's not his fault that we lost some of those games. I think he's been phenomenal. So if he does win it, great. I think he deserves it. But if he doesn't, he's got a lot of basketball to play at a high level. He's had a terrific freshman year, and I think he can, hopefully he doesn't settle on that being his only goal. So I don't know. It could go either way. I think JT is one of the better freshmen I have coached. I would think he would win it because of the amount of Mountain West player or freshman of the weeks that he's gotten. But UNLV's had a couple more wins than we did, so in the conference. So I don't know. Not sure.
You've been through, as we'll talk about, the Big Ten. You've been through the Mountain West. This time of year, the bubble. You tweeted it's a stressful life living on the bubble. Is the current setup one that you think is fair for a Mountain West, a not Power 6 or Power, maybe it'll be Power 6 next year when the Pac-12 dissolves, but is the current setup one that the Mountain West has a fair shake at compared to maybe what Minnesota would get if they were in the exact same position but being a Big Ten school?
Well, no would be the answer. Fair is not the right word. Life is not fair. I've never, ever tried to make life fair, so I never consume myself with fair, but the model is absolutely more beneficial for the Power Fives, and the 6 would be in the Big East. And again, that goes down to the nets of all the teams in the league. You look at St. John's, has I think 18 or 19 wins, and they're a little bit better shaped. Even I was looking at Villanova's got 15 losses. So it's certainly set up more for the power conferences. But that kind of is what it is, you know. I don't know. It's hard because, as I've said many a times, like, this league's got great coaches, great fan bases. Can you keep those coaches? Can you continue to take the success to build up the resources so that you can catch up to a Big East? You're not probably going to catch up to an SEC or a Big 12. I mean, because that's just the football money there is so very, very big. But as it pertains to making the NCAA tournament, now the NIT even, for a while there it was those low majors and mid majors would win those conference tournaments. Now you're going to see the NIT become a secondary high major, if you want to call us that or not, league. So I think there is certainly a fear that it's all moving in that direction. But I don't, what can you do to control it? I think from our league, I just hope we continue to parlay the success to continue to build up all the programs.
Nelly's a guy that's been playing actually kind of quietly, but a lot better the last probably 5 games, I would say. I think he has 3 double-doubles, maybe 4 in the last 5 or 6 games. And I'm curious, I think I've asked you the same question before, but have you seen anything change with him, or is it just the steady?
Yeah, I think it's been an ability to throw him the ball a little bit more. I think our guys have been good there, getting him some touches, him demanding the ball more. But he's a consistent worker. It's not, there's never been a, Nelly, you got to work harder. Like, Nelly brings it every single day. So maybe this is comfort level. I mean, he did transfer. And for all these kids, they got to see here that transferring every year doesn't necessarily, it's not always the perfect thing. So maybe he's just getting a little bit more comfortable with the surroundings. But no, he's always been a worker and with everything that he does. So it's great to see some consistency from him.
I know the metrics of blowing a team out help at this point of the year, but if you're playing Air Force, and you're facing the prospect of playing 4 games in 4 days. So if you're in control of that game, do you start resting guys?
So it's a great question, Will. And I don't want to talk about Air Force, so to speak, but I will say I thought about it during Fresno. And it's hard because I took some guys out early. We were up 24 at the time, and I just don't know what the number is that significantly helps. I don't know what it is, and it's I think it's in the back of every coach's mind. I'm not even thinking about blowing a team out in the conference. That's too hard, especially a team we just beat who's playing really, really well. But I don't know what the system is. At first it was you win by 10. That was kind of the number. I don't think that's the number anymore. But I'm not looking at a blowing it out standpoint. Now, you do certainly need to look at 4 games and 4 nights, and you got to be smart about that. So if we are fortunate, we'll see.
I think they took the scoring component out, right? It's just efficiency.
Yeah, but it's efficiency. So if you blow a team out, that helps your efficiency.
But I don't think they cap it anymore.
They don't cap it anymore.
How's everybody else, as far as you going into this thing 100% healthy other than MASH?
Well, Mash has started every game since he's been here, so that's obviously a significant one there. So hopefully he gets better by Wednesday. We've done some traveling. Obviously, we'll be back on the road again tomorrow. Like anybody, when you're sick, you want to be home. So hopefully one more good day's rest. Hopefully we can get him in practice tomorrow. But other than that, everybody else is good.
Like when you go to Las Vegas, do you kind of sequester these guys when they're not practicing or playing? What's the routine like away?
Well, we've been there a bunch. A conference tournament's different. We have a mature group. We haven't had, knock on wood, but 3 years I've been here, we haven't had a whole lot of off-the-court issues. There's certainly, whenever you go to Las Vegas with a team, you always worry about that as a coach. You worry about a lot of things that keep you up at night. But they've been good. So, we'll get in there tomorrow afternoon. We'll watch some film when we get in. We'll give them a little time, walk around, do what you got to do, and then we'll have curfew and get up and go ready to go. So these guys are different, they like to rest and look at their phones.
I know the outcome, the probability of the outcome changing is very, very low, but they did blow a call at the end of the game Saturday night. Have you had any contact with them?
Substantially low, Jeff. I don't think they're going to change the outcome of it. They obviously screwed it up. Now, to sit here and say it cost us the game obviously is an exaggeration because we still would have had to get a steal score. Like the probability of all of it turning into a win, I just was very surprised they didn't see it. But they made a mistake. I don't think it's why we lost. It was very confusing. At first, when Howe shot it, I was like, what did he just do? But then I'm sitting there going, well, what if we had rebounded and made the shot? Would they have counted it? And then all of a sudden, it should have been 2 point whatever seconds, and all of a sudden the fans rushed the court. Would that have been a technical? You know, those are things you wonder. But I don't think it cost us the game. We communicated with the conference. I've been coaching for 12 years. I find communicating with conferences to be the biggest waste of time ever, and I think the people at the Big Ten were great, and I think people at the Mountain West are great. Nothing really changes. Like I don't wish ill will on the 3 refs who screwed it up. I mean, I don't think it's why we lost the game. I'm just very surprised that 3 guys didn't see it, didn't hit the rim. But none of us were perfect that night.
There's been a recent story about the possibility of the Mountain West tournament moving now that the Pac-12 is dissolving. What are your thoughts on playing the Thompson Mack every year?
Oh, I hope they move it. Yeah, I think T-Mobile would be great. For a lot of reasons. Not that Thomas and Mack is far away, but to have something maybe down on the Strip is great for fans. I think everything that we do as a conference, from a men's basketball perspective and women's basketball, has got to be we want to take over the West. There's no reason why we can't do it. We've shown that this year. We've got 6, UNLV, us, whoever, we've got some really darn good teams, and then obviously Wyoming, who's playing really well as well. So we've got some great basketball jobs in this league, and I think we have an opportunity to elevate everything. Moving from Thomas and Mack to T-Mobile, it's a newer building, different location, I think would be great. So I think the league is certainly looking at it, trying to do some things there.
What about the league moving to playing everybody twice?
I think it's good. Yeah, I've always liked it. When we first got in the league, I kind of shut up and sat in the back. Year 1 for me. But that's been a conversation. It's hard for us to schedule. It's hard for a lot of these teams to schedule. And buy games are so expensive. And everybody's trying to be fiscally responsible within their budgets. So, you're going to have less buy games, which I think is good for everybody. So I don't think 20 league schedule is what's going to affect teams going to the NCAA tournament every year. I think it's a responsibility of the leagues and the administrations to really go all in. And I'm not saying they don't, but use this success and continue to double down. And I think that's going to help the consistency of the league.
Have you, along those lines, in non-conference talk, it's about the MTEs really. Have you guys secured one yet?
Yeah.
Can you say what?
No. I don't really know if we can or can't, to be honest with you. I would tell you I don't know if it's set in stone, but it's something where we're looking at playing power, whatever, who knows what you want to call them all. Where certainly that's something we talked about. And then trying to figure out, okay, if you're playing less home game, okay, can you go knock one out of the park, neutral site game? And you even look at Santa Clara, they're 4 or 5 points off the net for being a quad 2. So I think that was somewhat decent scheduling by us, but I think the MTE is where we got to continue to elevate it, and it will be that. I don't want to announce it if it's not official and all that stuff.
You guys try and look at the whole week as.
I understand. We go game by game. We know how big of a week this is for us. We know what we got to do to win to get to where we want to go. So just take every day game by game.
Do you look? Do you look at Saturday as? What do you think about Saturday's game and the outcome? They are the conference champion. You guys are pretty close to being able to knock them off without a starter.
That was a good game, and both sides played really well at basketball. They had one possession. They hit this shot. Can't really be that mad about it. I think we played great as a team.
I was asking Coach about motivation. I said, you don't need any extra motivation because Air Force, they were like the millstone around your neck when they came in because, such a bad loss. So the motivation, you guys must be ready for this one.
100%. Jalen said after the game, we just want vengeance for everything. We just want to play hard. Air Force, they hurt us a lot this season, so, this game is kind of personal for us, I think.
After Utah State, Nash not playing, a bunch of guys stepped up, though. True, Mustafa, different things like that. How does it feel to know you guys have that type of team heading into the tournament?
We did that earlier in the season. We had Mash and House out a lot with injuries. So, we knew what we already had going into the game because we played before with it. So, they just played their role and did a great job.
I'm sure you've done this a lot, high school AAU, playing a lot of games in a condensed amount of time. How do you keep the body fresh with the possibility of playing 4 games 4 days?
I just rehab every day after practice, after the game, treatment, being with Ben, stretching, just taking care of your body really helps you a lot.
Hey, you know, when the game got tight, against Utah State, when it was really tied up and stuff like that, everybody, you know, Lobo fans, even people take to Twitter and say it's Donovan Dent time. You know, so how do you feel about that? People thinking like when the game is on the line, you're like the dog, you're just go get it.
I mean, work for it. It feels really good. Coach Pitino trusts me in those moments. Just want to win the game, basically.
Yeah.
Do you, as you go into this in your second year, you take anything from last year, or are the roles just so different for you that it's not a whole lot to take going into the conference tournament like you did a year ago, or did you learn something last year that maybe helps you this year?
We can't take any team lightly in the tournament. I remember last year, our first game against Wyoming, we came out kind of flat. Every team's going to give you your best shot. It's the last game of the season, possibly, so we know what we got to do to handle business.
Hunter Maldonado at that game.
Is this an NCAA tournament team?
100%. We got to fix a couple pieces, win these couple games, and we're in there for sure.
What's the conversation you have with people outside of this program, you know, dad, family, friends back home, or something like that about this team? Is it one of kind of frustration that you guys aren't in the tournament right now, or is it one of, yeah, we're pretty good, we're going to do this?
Everyone I talk to outside knows how good of a team we are. We all want to win. They all want us to win, so we know what we got to do.
What has it been like to be in such a competitive conference this year? I would even think that if I was like in you guys' shoes, I'd probably be watching what happened to this team and that team because it's just so unpredictable.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, this league has a lot of good contenders in the league. We were watching the boys San Diego State game, great game there. I mean, just a lot of fun in this league. Every team's good.
So if you were watching that game, I got to ask about the Max Rice shot in overtime. What was the reaction of some of the guys watching that, thinking about what he did here?
Me and Brady, as soon as he shot, I knew it was green. Like, as soon as he left his hand, we knew it was going in for sure.
It was crazy.
I've seen him hit it too many times. Like, at this point, it's kind of a skill for him. I kind of respect it.
It really was. Like, when he shot that, like, I was like, yeah.
It did not surprise me at all. He had like 3 of those against us. I mean.
Donnie, at this point in the year, you kind of mentioned having to rehab your body all the time. Everyone in this conference is beat up. That's kind of what this point of the year is. So it's going to be a dogfight heading in the tournament. When you go out there as a competitor, you kind of look at other teams knowing, like, okay, if you see any bit of tiredness, just to kind of feed off of that.
100%. Just attack every moment. I mean, like, we go into every game with that mindset. Attack every possession, every time. We just got to want it more. Jalen says all the time we got to be more hungry, and I think we are right now.
I asked Coach this, but what's the routine like in Las Vegas? I know you guys have been there a lot. You know what the deal is, but how do you keep yourself from not being distracted by Las Vegas?
I mean, it's pretty easy. If you're focused on what you want to focus on, you stay in the hotel, do what you got to do. During your free time, you want to walk around, go ahead. But, I mean, even then, most of the time we stay off our feet because we know we got coming. So, I mean, we've been there for like 2 tournaments already. We know what we got to do.
You're talking about Coach having trust in you and you attacking, like, basically, you know, when you're coming down, if you see space, you have a green light to take advantage of that, right? I mean, whether it's at the end of the game or at any point.
100%. Coach P harps to me to be more aggressive, play with pace. So I've been doing that a lot more this year, and it's been great. It's been helping me a lot doing what I got to do.
So he's trying to get you to be a little more aggressive.
Aggressive and smarter.
Aggressive and smart.
Yeah.
What do you feel like? Do you feel like you've been aggressive, or do you feel like there are times that you're not attacking when when watching film after the fact? Like,
yeah,
man, I should have.
Watching some of the games back, there's been a lot of games where some of the games I've been passive where I didn't need to. I think I just got to be a little bit more aggressive and trusting myself the way he trusted me, basically.
You know, when you attack, man, sometimes it's just look like there's nowhere to go in that. It's like, how did he get in there?
I mean, I guess I see stuff that a lot of people can't see when I'm down there, and I draw a lot of attention. So when I attack, not only does it like bring the defenders, it makes it easier for my shooters to be able to catch and shoot. So that's why he harps me to attack.
Are you looking, when you drive in the lane real hard, are you like looking at angles and stuff like that? Because, I don't know, it's just almost like a running back, man, going through a hole, you know?
I mean, I'm really just looking at the defenders, seeing where they're rotating, seeing who I could pass to, if I could make a layup.
And then with that, either right or left is one of those you make it the,
Yeah, I
the
mean-
tail end of the play.
I
We've
think-
seen it both sides. We
Right.
saw the right against the Aggies, the left a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, finishing is one of my strongest skills, so I think I can finish very well with both hands, so it's whatever hand is open.
Do you ever look at the tape and think like, doesn't it look crazy to you too?
I mean, looking back at tapes 100%, like the one against Mexico State was crazy. But I mean, in the heat of the moment, I feel like it's just a reaction thing and it works out most of the time.
How's your quad?
Quad's perfectly fine. I feel great going into the tournament and all that.